Hi guys, I know it's a bit late, but I'm going to be doing a top 10 best movies of 2023. So, because why not, and that's it. Enjoy. So, at number 10, I would say Thanksgiving. You know, look, I'm not exactly a huge fan of Eli Roth, and I haven't seen Hostel, but I know it, and I'm not exactly really a big fan of the torture, porn, whatever you want to call it. So, I was a bit hesitant with Thanksgiving. But the fact is that it's a slasher, which I do like. I love my Scream. And it's also a murder mystery, and I do like my murder mystery. So, I braved the bullet, you could say, and I watched it, and, you know, I enjoyed it. The practical effects in it is quite gnarly, and a lot of the kills is sometimes vomit-inducing. There's this one scene, I won't say, just in case you haven't seen it, but it's around about the ending, and my gosh, I felt like my stomach was going to hurl. And I guess that's typical Eli Roth, so congratulations, and yeah, I enjoyed it. At number 9, Godzilla Minus One. Look, I'm sure most people would probably put it more likely in the top 5, and that is fair. I appreciate that. I just like the other movies just a bit more. Maybe it's because I'm more connected to them, unlike, you know, Godzilla, but let's face it, Godzilla Minus One, it's great. I loved it. Normally, I don't go for foreign films because I really just don't like reading the subtitles, because I'm afraid that if by reading the subtitles it take me out of the movie, because I just have to focus on the words and I'm not going to miss out the action, what's going on. But I have now seen 3 foreign films, and they are really good. I've seen Train to Busan, I've seen Pan's Labyrinth, and now Godzilla Minus One, and because of that, I probably should watch some more foreign films. but nah, this movie, like, Godzilla, he was scary. Like, he was really, wow, damn. There's so much, like, feelings I had when Godzilla was on screen, and, like, chills, and, like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? And the human characters, I actually cared for the characters! And that's rare. Seriously, that is rare. Especially the American Godzilla movies. I just don't really care for them, not really. There might be one or two that I'm like, oh, I hope that character doesn't really get hurt or die. Yeah, but if they did, it wasn't gonna bother me that much. But these characters, I was so engrossed into them. Like, I really wanted them to not die, and I was like on the edge of my seat, and like, this movie, if you hadn't seen it, it's great. It is great. Believe the hype. At number 8, Dracula, Voyage of the Demeter. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure what to think about this one. I quite liked it. I really enjoyed it, surprisingly. I like how they didn't, you know, they took risks. You know, they didn't hold back. They took it. And I appreciate that. So, because not many horror films don't want to take the risk, and I appreciate it, and it was good. How I see it, the movie kind of felt like a blend between Alien and The Thing. 2 amazing horror sci-fi movies, and they're great, and I really enjoyed them. And yeah, it was a fun time, and even though you kind of knew what was probably going to happen in the end if you know the story, it still didn't really take me out of it, and I really liked it, and yeah, that's why it's number 8. And number 7, Talk to Me. I'll be honest, I really wasn't planning on watching this movie in cinemas. I really wasn't. I just, But after hearing so many good stuff about it, like, I was like, I feel like I gotta check this out. And those guys at Raka Raka, like, I was like, alright, I shall check them out. And, oh my gosh, they did amazing. Like, they were really good. So, and the story just felt new, and, like, I mean, obviously, you can't make it a completely original movie, because there's a lot that has been done before, but they made it their own, and it was great. I loved it. Amazing. So, the fact that this is the first feature film, I would be like, if someone told me this wasn't, then I would believe them, because this movie just felt like the directors had a lot of experience in making a movie. But the fact that this is their directorial debut, gotta hand it to them. It's great. Hats off to them, man. Like, they were amazing. And you know, it's an Australian horror film. What more can you want? And then number 6, Evil Dead Rise. I'll be honest though, when I saw the trailer, I was like, almost like shaking in my boots, because that one, I'm like, oh my gosh, do I want to watch this? You know, this just feels too gnarly. But then I'm just thinking, wait a minute, I enjoyed the 2013 Evil Dead. So, screw it, let's watch it. And I like my Evil Dead. Evil Dead's great. So, I did it and I watched it. Glad I did, because my gosh, that movie was awesome. That was... Ooh! And Ellie, Elisa Sullivan. My gosh. She was amazing. She was scary. Wow. And gore, kills. Wow. I'm looking forward to see what more Evil Dead movies are going to be like. And I mean, as much as I would love to have Bruce Campbell in future films, the fact that this one is like the first one that Bruce Campbell isn't in, I mean, he's a part of it, but not physically in, it does feel like that, you know, like Sidney Prescott in Scream, they could still make a good Evil Dead movie. You know, even without the amazing power of Bruce Campbell, aka Ash Williams. But obviously, Ash Williams, still the man, but yeah, surprisingly, I really like Evil Dead Rise, and I just feel like the whole idea of it being in a building and not, you know, in the forest, yeah, it almost kind of felt like Die Hard, but with Deadites. And it was great. I enjoyed it. Fun times. And then number 5, Scream 6. As I said before in my Evil Dead one, just then, I was really worried about, you know, Scream 6, because, you know, Neve Campbell, she wasn't in it. And I was like, oh my goodness, a Scream movie without Sidney Prescott? It feels wrong. It just doesn't feel right. And once I saw it, I was like, actually, this is really good. And I really enjoyed this sequel. I still thought this movie was well done, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And, you know, the kills were very wide opening, you could say, and Ghostface can be quite scary and intense, and it was a well done movie. And I do feel like that if Sydney was in it, it would feel like she was just shoehorned in, you know? She'd be just there. This one felt more like Sam's story, you know, Melissa Barrera and Jen Ortega. This was theirs. Same goes for Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown. Like, this was their movie, and they did amazing. And obviously, Hayden Panettiere, she's great, and I'm glad she came back as Kirby. And yeah, it was a fun time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah. Number 4, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. The action in this movie is mind-boggling. Like, Tom Cruise, man, he's the man. Like, he really is the man. Like, all these stunts, like, wow. You know, like, the most dangerous stunt he's ever done, at least at this point. Motorbike on the ramp, or mountain in the movie, going up, and then parachuting down after some free falling. Wow. Like, I was on the edge of my seat, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And yes, this might be part 1 of a 2-part story. And yes, I'm looking forward to part 2, whenever that ends up coming up. Apparently it's next year. But with movies being delayed, who knows? Because it was supposed to come out this year. So, I don't know. But either way, whenever this movie actually comes out, I'm definitely looking forward to part 2. Like, the stakes are very high in this one, and you know, Tom Cruise just knows how to make an action movie, man. Like, it's great, and yeah, I'm looking forward to part 2. So, wow, the action. Mission Impossible, man, never gets old. And at number 3, John Wick Chapter 4. Like, same goes for Mission Impossible. Like, the action in this movie is just is amazing. I loved it. Edge of my seat, and just like hard-hitting action, and you know, the bird's eye shot of, you know, John Wick, you know, fighting all those men. It's just awesome. Like, amazing. And even the ending just felt like a nice conclusion to the John Wick story. And I've heard they're making a 5th one. I mean, look, if they are, I'll still watch it because John Wick is amazing. But at the same time, I really hope they don't continue, because the 4th one, how it ended, it just felt right. It felt nice, and it felt like the only way you can end the John Wick saga. I am looking forward to Ballerina this year. See how that goes, but yeah. But no, John Wick, awesome action, and yeah, it's great. And number 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Oh, who says animation is for kids? That movie was, oh my gosh. That movie was so awesome. Like, amazing. Gosh, the fact this is only like part 1 of a 2-part story. Like, you know, it was so well done, and the way it ended, it's one of the best cliffhangers ever. And I just, like, when it ended, I was like, no, don't you dare, don't you, no, you can't end it there, I need to know what happens next. But seriously though, like, the animation, the story, the action, the characters, oh my gosh, this movie was awesome. Loved it. I seriously cannot wait until you know, the 3rd one, Beyond the Spider-Verse. Oh my gosh, that movie's gonna rock. Whenever the ends are coming out, first day, I'm going into the cinema. Oh, this trilogy could actually be one of the best trilogies ever. Ugh. Gosh, this movie's gonna be great. And finally, the number one movie is, drumroll please, Oppenheimer. I mean, come on. Is it going to be anything else? I mean, maybe, but you know, Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan, about J. Robert Oppenheimer, the one who made the atomic bomb. It was such a great character study of Oppenheimer, and even, look, if you're not a fan of war films, if you haven't seen it, this isn't really technically a war movie. As I said, it's a character study of Oppenheimer. You know, what's going on with his head, how does he feel that he's now made like a death machine, you know? Like, it would play havoc to him, and Cillian Murphy, he is amazing as Oppenheimer. You know, Robert Downey Jr., he was amazing as Louis Strauss. Just, this whole cast is just, it's like the Avengers rolled, you know, into a Christopher Nolan film. You know, you've got everybody, you know. The cast is ginormous, man. Emily Blunt, Rami Malek, Gary Oldman, Devon Bostwick, Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Like, seriously. Josh Peck, Jack Wade. I mean, there's so many actors, actresses, Florence Pugh. Like, just there's so many in this movie. Like, it is amazing. Matt Damon. Like, I could go on. Like there's just so many people in this movie that you could You could do a whole video on it because to say every single person in this movie. Like, I know I haven't said everyone. You can go and Google yourself, but my gosh, this movie is awesome. It's clocked on to about 3 hours, but the movie, man, is so good. And Ludwig Göransson, the score. Can you hear the music? My gosh, I could hear the music. So good. This movie was just beyond amazing, and I am so looking forward to seeing what more Christopher Nolan movies in the future. You know, what does he have in store? And it's just, Oppenheimer, man, it's great. But I will say, an honorable mention, Barbie was a fun movie. I did enjoy. Not one of my favorites. I prefer the movies I had in my top 10, obviously. But it was still a fun time, and I better say it because, you know, Barbenheimer, so it was a big thing for last year, so yeah. I still enjoy Barbie, still a fun time. I'm sorry, the other 10, way better. Especially Oppenheimer. Oh, that last scene, man. Oh, still gives me chills. Ooh. Anyways. Thank you for listening to my top 10, and yeah. And if you'd like to, I can think of top 10 worst films, but I thought I'd do some positives start with. Anyways, thanks very much, and yeah. Bye.